see that you have good business contacts in Atlanta. Would you be Hungary's honorary consul? And my first reaction was, well, Mr. Ambassador, you know I'm not Hungarian, right? And he said, we don't want a Hungarian. We want somebody who's a native, who knows the local area, who has the business contacts, and can help us with Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina. So for me, it was a no-brainer, and that's how I became honorary consul of Hungary.
Well, this is a wonderful story, and I have to tell you, very unique story, by the way. But if I was there, I would have told you, don't be surprised that they can play blues even better than Americans, because I have been in Hungary and I have Hungarian friends, and I could tell you, first of all, they love music.
That's true.
And they have a great admiration for American music, and being, for them, American music is jazz. That's the blues, jazz, and all that. That's what it represents, American music for most of the European countries, really. So I would have told you then, just don't be surprised. I bet you he can play better than anybody you know.
Well, actually, that is exactly the case. But at the time, I was completely ignorant of that fact, that the Hungarians would be able to play American music, the blues. And it turns out that he had been a long-time rock fan since he was a young person in Hungary.
Right. Yeah, it makes it very attractive for them, I believe. It's just because of their history, and being the fact that they were not allowed really to sort of like travel, to come to the United States and all that. So that made it even more attractive for the Eastern Europeans, everything related to the culture in the United States. But that's a great story, and I have to tell you, I'm sure that it had a lot more to do with your friendship with him. I know that you were instrumental in opening those flights, direct flights to from New York to Budapest, and I think that probably have a lot to do with it. And in regards to his comment with your business contacts, I think that's great. And then that will be really my next question to you. What is the Consulate of Hungary doing today to stimulate international trade between Georgia and Hungary? Because I know that there are several companies that they're already coming or thinking of coming, and I know that a country that with 9 million people, it's not easy to create this great traffic of companies coming back and forth. So it's got to be a hard role for you to play. But what is happening in the international trade arena right now between Hungary and Georgia?
Well, let me just follow up in answering this question by linking it back to the previous story. Much of what I'm doing is, I think, could best be termed as soft diplomacy. Just getting the information out to the business community, not just business, but also cultural and educational community, that Hungary exists, that it's a market where you can do business. And when I use the term soft diplomacy, I'm thinking back to the Ambassador András Simonyi, right, who's no longer the ambassador. He's returned to Budapest now and is working there. But he's just published a book on soft diplomacy. And in his view, his book, his interest in blues and rock and his band was a form of diplomacy. Right. He used that as a method to put Hungary on the map, to put it in people's minds, to publicize what you can do there. And, culture, education, and culture, including things like music, are excellent tools that I use in promoting Hungary as a place where you can do business. Because first you have to build some recognition. Central Europe's a very crowded region geographically. So many countries: Slovakia, Czech Republic, Romania, Poland, Serbia, Slovenia, Hungary, you name it, and I'm sure I've missed a few. Austria, for example. Right. How do you choose, if you're a business that's interested for some reason in expanding into that region? How do they go about making a decision that this is the region in which they want to expand? Well, there are a number of factors, and many of them are purely business oriented, market analyses and so forth. But first, you have to build some recognition, I think, in the local community of the fact that that country exists, that there's an educated, cultured, technologically capable workforce that's friendly to our principles and that wants to receive businesses from Georgia or Tennessee or North Carolina or South Carolina. So much of what I'm doing is not direct business promotion. Much of it's preparing that direct business promotion by things like promoting Hungarian cultural events, Hungarian educational exchanges, but also, of course, talking to businesses directly and working with Georgia Department of Economic Development, Metro Atlanta Chamber of Commerce, World Chamber of Commerce, and of course the surrounding chambers and the counties to build that recognition. And much of it's through inviting representatives from those entities to events that highlight Hungary in one way or another. So that's the soft diplomacy.
Right, and you do a wonderful job of that. I just want to congratulate you for that, because I think that today the community, the business and the international community really know Hungary because of you. So I just want to make sure that you knew that. Well, I wanted to ask you a question, just a little bit more about international trade, and then we can move to other things. But can you explain to us what is the ITD Hungary, the Hungarian Investment and Trade Development Agency, and how this agency works, and how Georgia business can benefit to maybe creating a sort of like a link with them through the consulate? Just tell us how business can benefit from this.
Well, Hungary has a very well-developed agency called the Investment and Trade Development Agency that's an arm of their Ministry of Economics, under which their commercial relationships fall. And that agency, if you went to their website, provides step-by-step guidance in English and other languages, by the way, to companies in other countries about potential partnerships, areas of expertise in the Hungarian business community, all information about legal and regulatory requirements for setting up businesses in Hungary. And it's just it's a clearinghouse, essentially, of information about Hungarian business. I've found that it's just an incredible source and support for me as honorary consul. When Georgia businesses have questions about Hungary, I can go to that website and find the latest information. I can even find lists of companies that are looking for partners in our region in particular industrial areas. For example, pharmaceuticals, film, automobile parts manufacturers. All of these sectors of the Hungarian economy are relying on their foreign partnerships for not just technological expertise and capital, but as potential markets for the Hungarians. And I think that that agency is so well developed. I would just encourage any of the listeners to go to their website and look at the information that's available there.
Okay. All right. Well, that's great information, and I'm sorry that our time is limited today, but I wanted to just make sure as a final thought, if you can give us information. We haven't talked about so many important things with Hungary, like for instance, the tourism being such an important aspect of the economy of the country. It's like 10% of gross domestic product comes from tourism. So as a final thought, please tell us, number one, how the United States or Georgia can turn into an important partner for Hungary. I know the top partners are Germany, China, Russia, etc. How we can, as a state, how we can work out sort of like a relationship that it will grow stronger in the future. I know that the industries that for imports are machinery and equipment and fuel and electricity. But so that being one part of the question, and the other is with tourism, what is the consulate doing in terms of events and promoting tourism, and